So about 30 years ago, just under 30 years ago now, a seminal report came out. It defined sustainability for the world. It was the Brundtland report called Our Common Future. It set up the three main concepts of sustainability and how they interact: ecology, economy, and society. So I want to give a quick background on how are we doing on those things. So the world is on track now for global warming in the range of 3 to 4 degrees Celsius. The science is clear. Even the Pentagon is nervous, so that means you should be nervous. The ice caps are melting. 50% of Florida will be underwater by 2100. 50% of the land value of Florida, sorry, not 50% of the state. California, I was speaking at something there in the spring and literally landing in LA. You could see the fires in the mountains. Species extinction is at an all-time rate, matching exactly population increase. The collapse of fish stocks is now becoming clear, and Canada, unfortunately, has one of the reputations for being the poorest manager of resources on the face of the earth due to the collapse of the Atlantic cod fishery. It still hasn't recovered. Those are the ecological measures. I don't focus a lot at the Ivey Foundation on the social measures, but we can't ignore the fact that growing income inequality is happening hand in hand with the collapse of ecosystems. What really struck me with this graph is, if you look on your left, you'll see the increasing inequality with the top 1%. On the right is the top 0.01% relative to the 1%. The 1% is flat on the bottom. So corporate social responsibility. When McKinsey is saying corporate social responsibility isn't working, that should make us nervous as well. So here's old sustainability. We've got ecology, economy, society. Somewhere in the middle there's an intersection of how do these things, where's the sweet spot where these three things intersect? The reality is they don't. The economy serves society, and society needs to live within ecological boundaries. And until we reframe this concept of sustainability, most of what we continue to do, I think, will be in the wrong direction. Economy is winning out, clearly, in all of this. Society isn't, and ecology certainly isn't. So the question for me was, given that we know this, why don't we act? Why don't we make different decisions as funders, as governments, as NGOs? And Gary Larson always has the answer whenever you have a question. And this is one of my very favorite Gary Larsons. But we don't want to be completely depressing. We have succeeded on a bunch of things. This is my little timeline of moving forward over the environmental spectrum for the last 20 years, 30 years, from recycling to cleaning up the Great Lakes to solving air pollution in large measure, acid rain in large measure, ozone significantly, clear-cutting forests, and for those of you that know me, toxic chemicals and rubber ducks. Climate change is still the big problem that we haven't done a very good job of solving. And so just an example of some of the things we've done. Shutting down coal in Ontario, a huge, globally significant thing. One thing that people don't realize, recently the stats came out on this, I pulled them together. 2014 and 2015, after the shutdown of the last coal plant, the first 2 years in Ontario, we have not had a smog advisory. A lot of people are critical of these big measures, thinking that, well, we still have coal plants in the US, we still have a whole bunch of cars, it's not really going to make a difference. These things make a big difference. So at the Ivey Foundation, we've stepped back, and Andrew's presentation was a great precursor to what we've been trying to think through around collaborating with governments, collaborating with businesses, collaborating with the public. And we've landed on 3 things that need to change in the world. We need to have more investment in the right kinds of things and less investment in the wrong kinds of things. And I don't mean sort of the more tokenistic divestment stuff. I mean really thinking about the big world of capital markets. We need to measure things differently, and we need to price things differently. So the one thing that I think is revolutionizing the thinking of this in Canada is Canada's EcoFiscal Commission, something that several of us, many of us actually, I think 4 or 5 of us in the room, are collaborating on, a very exciting project. This isn't meant to be read, but the idea is that in order to make change, we need to have the economic ideas, we need to have public engagement, and we need to have businesses engaged. It's all about collaborating, exactly the way Andrea described it. And this is the final big thing that you're not supposed to read, which is how it all comes together at the Ivey Foundation, which will be on our website. And with that, I have one more second, and I will just say thank you very much.